Alrighty, we are back. We are going to get this thing tore down the rest of the way. First thing I got to do is pull the dowels. I'm going to go ahead and get the crank out, detach everything else attached to the motor mounts, the brackets, this bolt that is not in the proper place and not the right length bolt. I got to take some oil galley ports out, things like that. So we'll get started. Alright, I got all the main caps off. They are pretty scored. They have some nasty marks on them. We'll grab the worst one. It's this front one. That would be the last one to get oil. There we go. Okay, so now you can see how scratched up that is. Go ahead and hear that? Pretty nasty stuff. So that thing is really rough. So that bearing is hashed for sure. Now, I got all of them marked. An arrow pointing towards the front. They have the numbers on them already. The only reason I really mark them is because they flipped the end ones. I really only need to mark the end ones because these tabs that sit here, you know, they're sticking out like that. They are different front to rear. So this one would be that way, flip like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and set all these down. Then we're going to go ahead and get that crank out of there. Here it comes. I quickly pulled one of the caps back up because I want to show you the damage that was done from that lifter. So there you have it. There's all that damage. Look at how nasty that ding is in there. So I'm going to have to address that. Oh, see the other mark off to the left of that damaged area? Like something got hit in the cam there. I don't know what that's about. It's a little interesting, right? Right there. Right between the two holes. There's a little damage mark. I'm not sure how that ended up there, but it is. Oh, wait a minute. See where that ding is? Now look at the other side. That lifter pocket has damage too. So this thing is going to take some serious inspection and looking into. Oh, I can see galling on that lifter hole there. See that? Definitely got some work ahead of me on this one, or the machine shop in this case is going to have some work ahead of them. Now, one of the things you want to get yourself is a screwdriver that has a bent end. And you use that screwdriver to pull out the oil galley plug that splits for the oil filter. There is a plug in there. I'll show you. As you can see, it has a little section there. And that section is to separate between the two ports that go to the oil filter and the oil pan. But the aluminum blocks are very light. They are definitely easy to manage. They have windowed out sections on the crank main area, which makes them weak, susceptible to moving under high power. So they don't work well in high power situations unless you have them girdled with several different ways of doing so. But they're so light, you can see me, I'll be able to easily just take this thing off of the engine stand. The iron blocks, however, they add a considerable amount of weight to this design, and they are extremely tough to pick up. It is either a two-man job or it is a get the engine hoist out job. Now we got a lot of parts cleaning to do, a lot of cleanup. Alright, so I want to show you something quick. These are the connecting rods, obviously. They're a cracked rod design, meaning they basically heat this thing up, or not heat it up, cool it down, like, way cold, and then I assume what they do is they put it in a vise, and they break off the end, okay? And they do that because then you end up with, there's no way you can mismatch this. You can't put a different cap on a different rod. You can't flip this thing around. No matter what you do, this thing will always sit where it sits, and that's it. Anything else will not work. And if you try and make it work, it will break things. So, cracked rod design. The bushings for the wrist pin up at the top here. And what I want to show you is the wrist pin's bushing condition, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this one out. Okay, so you see the inside of that bushing? That is the thrust side or pressure side, so the piston pushes down right here, okay? And you can see it's actually pretty clean. Now, go to the top side. This is the side that pulls down on the piston. You can see that one's really clean. So this one's in good shape. Now we'll move on to one that is not in such good shape. Okay, so we'll look at this side first. You can see the hot spot there? This one was too tight on the wrist pin is what the deal is, because the top of it has gotten hot, so it was too tight on the wrist pin. See the bottom side. There we go. You see the bottom side there is also pretty nasty looking. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a wrist pin from one of the pistons, but I'm going to compare it between all the different rods and look at their condition in comparison. Alright, so what we're going to do is compare these. I might as well get the sight. So I have zero movement on that one. That one is a good condition. That one was a little bit tight. Zero movement. It's got a real small heat spot. This one fits perfectly. It's actually heated up. This one seems a little bit tight. And that one's got hot spots. This one's loose. It also has hot spots. So he's going to need bushings. Yeah, he needs bushings. The one is loose, so he needs at least one bushing. The others might be able to be sized. We'll have to see what happens when we get new wrist pins. If we keep these rods, which I assume we're going to, we'll be doing ARP rod stud, connecting studs on here, or bolts, ARP rod bolts, and then we'll have the bearing journal checked for out of round. Usually they stretch a little bit, but usually they're still within spec. If you take them and hone them, they'll still be within spec. And that ends up a bonus on a performance motor because it gives you a little bit extra bearing clearance. So you want a little bit more bearing clearance on the performance applications versus the stock stuff. The stock stuff is too tight for a performance application. I'm probably going to recommend this guy goes to a higher volume pump. That way we can add bearing clearance and give it a little more squish and movement and things. Since he's going to be making okay power, I mean it'll be 500 wheel. It's not going to be crazy powerful. It'll just make pretty decent power for a very low end build. So I will get him here today and we will talk everything through. Most likely we'll be using these rods. pulled the cylinder heads apart, or well, one of them, and kind of just felt the guides with the stems, and everything feels good on the one that I pulled apart. I'm going to assume both of them are good. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything obvious. So since nothing obvious is wrong, I'm going to go ahead and run these over to the machine shop as soon as I get a chance. LS parts. Weird. Making sure I don't have any power wires that are connected or contacting the ground, because I have to attach the power. But windows roll up. I do got to charge the battery for him before he gets here. It is very low. Weird. Didn't I just put that block in there? Well, actually no. So, I have two of these blocks now. I had one sitting in the basement of my house. Now, I am going to end up selling this guy that block because of the situation with the lifter bores. And I'm going to offer him a really good deal. Because what I'm going to end up doing, I think, is I'm going to make this my new office table. I have a really nice piece of glass in my house. A really big, round, heavy, thick piece of glass. I think I'm going to offer him a significant drop off of the slightly used block that I had sitting around in order to have this as my table. So I just think that would be a really cool idea. And if you guys do too, give me a little thumbs up for that. And I'll probably make a video on the table if I do end up making it. I'm sure I will. So just a matter of time. It'll be a short episode this time. The last episode was pretty long, but I didn't want to split it, early because that was half a day's worth of work. And since I was doing the motor, there's a lot of details. I still skipped a lot of details that I talked about during the video. I just kind of picked what I thought was the most needed details and then put them in the video, and it ended up being longer than I wanted. Like, share, subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can get the next episode. We will be doing engine assembly, I'm sure, in the next episode. I'll have some parts in hand, hopefully. It might be a little bit of driving out there, and then it'll be driving back and getting the assembly. So, yeah, should be a good time. This car will be out of here shortly, as soon as the customer gets here. Thanks for watching.